Yi Hyun wiped the sweat from his forehead as he crouched in the corner of the junkyard, his hands covered in grease and grime. The sun had begun to sink behind the dusty horizon, painting the sky in orange and red streaks. All around him, broken starships and discarded machinery stretched as far as the eye could see. Most people thought this place was dead, but Yi Hyun knew better. He could hear the whispers of the past, the hum of engines that had long stopped, and the faint call of forgotten machines. He had spent years wandering through these deserts, looking for parts, rare circuits, or old engines that he could repair and sell. The galaxy didn't care about humans like him, small, quiet, unimportant, but he had a gift. He could fix things. Not just fix them, he could make them better. On that particular evening, Yi Hyun's attention was caught by a shadow. At first, he thought it was just another pile of scrap, but as he got closer, he realized it was a ship, a massive ship, unlike anything he had seen before. It was buried under rusted panels and sand, a relic of a forgotten war. Its hull was cracked in places, and strange alien symbols ran along its surface. Despite its ruined state, it seemed alive. A soft vibration ran through the ground, almost like a heartbeat. Yi Hyun froze. He had felt many vibrations in his life, from engines starting, from tools vibrating, but this was different. It was faint but steady, almost like the ship was calling him. He crouched down, resting his hand on the cold metal of the hull. The vibration seemed to respond to him, growing slightly stronger. "What are you?" he whispered. The wind howled across the junkyard, but it felt like the ship was listening. The idea seemed impossible. Ships didn't have feelings. Ships didn't call for help. But this one, maybe it did. Yi Hyun ran his fingers along the hull, looking for an entrance. He found a hatch half buried and rusted shut. It took hours, sweat dripping from his brow, to pry it open. Inside, darkness greeted him. But as his flashlight swept across the walls, he saw the faint glow of dormant systems. Panels flickered weakly, and strange symbols shimmered as if trying to communicate. He stepped inside, cautious but excited. The interior was vast, larger than any human ship he had ever seen. The ceiling stretched high above him, and corridors branched in every direction. Dust hung in the air, disturbed by his movement, making him cough. Strange noises echoed through the halls, but they weren't frightening. They were curious. The ship seemed aware of him, watching. He approached a central console, its screen dark but cracked. Gently, he touched the panel. Suddenly, lights flickered on. A soft, mechanical voice spoke, distant and weak but clear. "Help, please, repair." Yi Hyun jumped back, startled. His heart raced. Machines didn't ask for help. Humans did, but he couldn't ignore it. He took a deep breath. "I'll help you," he said. Over the next few days, Yi Hyun worked tirelessly. He scavenged parts from nearby scrap, repaired broken circuits, and cleaned the thick dust off the control panels. Slowly, the ship began to respond. Lights that had been dark for centuries came on. Engines that had slept for decades hummed faintly. The ship's voice grew stronger, more confident. It wasn't just a machine, it was alive. A memory lingered in its circuits, a history of battles, victories, and losses that no human had witnessed. Yi Hyun discovered something incredible. The ship's design was unlike any alien or human ship he had ever studied. It was massive, built for war, yet it had systems that seemed intelligent. The weapons systems were offline, but he could see that they were advanced, capable of firing energy blasts far beyond human technology. The engines were enormous, designed to cross star systems in hours, not days. And the AI, if it could be called that, was aware, sentient, and waiting for someone who could understand it. As Yi Hyun worked, he couldn't help but feel a connection. He spoke to the ship as if it were a person. "You've been forgotten for a long time," he said one evening, wiping his hands on a rag. "But I won't forget you." The ship responded with a soft vibration, a sign that it understood. Word of his discovery began to spread through nearby systems. Small alien scavenger crews noticed unusual energy readings and curiosity drew them closer, but they didn't dare approach. They had heard stories of ships that moved themselves, ships that fought even when abandoned. Humans like Yi Haiyan were unpredictable, unknown variables that even aliens respected. One night, as Yi Haiyan rested in a corner of the ship's main chamber, the AI spoke clearly for the first time. I am called Urindor. My systems were created by a civilization long gone. You are human, you are different, you see what others cannot. Yi Haiyan's eyes widened. You understand me? I do, the AI replied. I have been waiting for someone like you. He smiled, feeling a thrill of excitement. Humans were underestimated everywhere in the galaxy. But here, in this forgotten junkyard, he had found something that could change everything. Something powerful, something alive. Over the next weeks, Yi Haiyan and Urindor worked together. He repaired the engines, modified the control systems, and adapted the ship for human use. Slowly, the derelict vessel became something new, a fusion of alien design and human ingenuity. It wasn't just a ship anymore. It was a living testament to what humans could do when others had given up. As the first test of the engines approached, Yi Haiyan stood in the control room, heart pounding. He activated the main systems. Lights danced across the panels. Engines roared to life. The vibration he had felt from the first day grew stronger, filling the room with energy. Urindor's voice was calm but proud. You have done well, Yi Haiyan. Together we can do more than you imagine. Yi Haiyan grinned, wiping sweat from his brow. Let's see what humans can really do, he said. And for the first time in decades, the massive ship moved. Slowly at first, then faster, testing its systems, testing the universe. Yi Haiyan felt a surge of pride. He had found something incredible, something forgotten, and he was the only human capable of bringing it back to life. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. The galaxy was wide and full of danger. But for the first time, Yi Haiyan knew that humans had an edge, a creativity, a courage, and a resilience that no one could predict. And this massive ship, once abandoned and ignored, would be the key to proving it. The adventure had only just begun. Yi Haiyan woke early that morning, the light of twin suns spilling through the massive windows of Urindor's control room. The ship hummed gently around him, alive and aware, as if it were breathing. He rubbed his eyes and stretched, still marveling at the sheer scale of the vessel. Every corridor, every panel, every engine thrummed with energy that humans had only dreamed about. Good morning, Yi Haiyan, Urindor's voice said, calm and steady. We have much work ahead. Yi Haiyan smiled, feeling a warmth that went beyond the rising suns. I know, let's get started. He moved to the engineering bay, a cavernous room filled with alien machinery, glowing conduits and dormant engines. His first task was to repair the primary propulsion system. The engines were massive, designed to cross entire star systems in hours, but decades of neglect had left them brittle and corroded. Yi Haiyan carefully cleaned each component, replaced broken circuits, and rewired damaged power conduits. As he worked, he noticed patterns in the machinery, alien logic intertwined with human-compatible systems. It was as if the ship had been waiting for someone like him. Every time he made a repair, the engines pulsed slightly, a small heartbeat of encouragement. This is incredible, he muttered. No human could have built this, but I can make it work. Urindor's voice resonated softly. It is not only the ship, it is your mind that allows it to awaken. Your creativity, your adaptability, these are what make humans unique. Yi Haiyan paused, thinking about what Urindor had said. Humans were underestimated everywhere. Aliens dismissed them as weak, simple, slow. But here, in this forgotten ship, his abilities mattered more than raw power. Humans could improvise. Humans could solve problems no one else could. And he was about to prove it. Days passed, and Yi Haiyan worked tirelessly. He repaired the navigation systems, deciphered alien codes, and connected new circuits to long-dormant weapons. He modified the control panels to respond to human commands, while still respecting Erendor's original design. Slowly, the ship began to feel like a collaboration between human and alien intelligence. One afternoon, while inspecting the weapons array, Yi Haiyan noticed something unusual. The energy cores were intact, but the targeting systems had been disabled intentionally. He traced the codes and found warnings in the alien language. Erendor's creators had feared the weapon could be too powerful if activated recklessly. "I need to be careful," Yi Haiyan said aloud. "One wrong move and this thing could destroy everything." Erendor's voice was calm but firm. "Humans have a gift for caution and creativity. Use it wisely, and we will succeed." Meanwhile, rumors of the awakening ship began to spread through nearby star systems. Alien scavenger crews who had once ignored the vessel now watched from a distance, curious and fearful. Strange energy readings from the junkyard drew the attention of larger forces. Some wanted to claim the ship, others wanted to destroy it before humans could harness it. Yi Haiyan knew it was only a matter of time before he would face outside threats. Despite the looming danger, he pressed on. He discovered hidden storage rooms filled with alien blueprints and advanced technology. Among them were designs for weapon systems that no human engineer had ever seen: plasma cannons, energy shields, propulsion boosters that could double the ship's speed. Yi Haiyan's mind raced. He could integrate these systems, adapt them for human use, and turn the ship into something far beyond any known fleet. Late one night, as he rested against a support beam, Erendor spoke quietly. "Yi Haiyan, there are memories within me. Battles, conflicts, victories, and failures. If you wish to awaken my full potential, you must understand them." Yi Haiyan frowned. "Memories? You mean like stories?" "Yes," Erendor replied. "I have witnessed empires rise and fall. I have fought battles across galaxies. You must learn from these histories if we are to survive." For the next several days, Yi Haiyan listened. Erendor recounted stories of alien wars, strategies, and sacrifices. Yi Haiyan absorbed every detail, learning not only about technology, but about tactics and thinking far beyond his human experience. He began to apply these lessons to the ship, improving its systems, adapting old weapon designs into new configurations, and testing propulsion techniques that had been considered impossible. One evening, as he worked on the ship's energy core, the ground trembled slightly. Yi Haiyan froze. Outside, alien scouts had arrived, curious about the rising energy readings. They were cautious, not attacking directly, but their presence was unmistakable. "Looks like we've been noticed," Yi Haiyan said, tension rising in his voice. "They're watching us." "They underestimate humans," Erendor replied. "They think curiosity makes you weak. They are wrong." Yi Haiyan smiled grimly. "Let's make sure they know exactly what humans can do." He worked through the night, reinforcing shields, running diagnostics, and preparing the ship for its first real test. By morning, Erendor's engines hummed at full power. Panels glowed brightly, and the ship's massive frame vibrated with anticipation. Yi Haiyan climbed into the command chair and ran through the final checks. The ship responded instantly to his touch, lights shifting and engines adjusting in real time. He felt a thrill of power coursing through him. This was no longer just a repair job. It was a partnership, a union of human skill and alien technology. The alien scouts hovered near the edge of the junkyard, cautious but intrigued. Yi Haiyan activated the engines fully, sending a pulse of energy across the sensors. The scouts jumped back, startled. The ship had awakened. Its shields flared briefly and its energy signature screamed with power. "Let them see," Yi Haiyan whispered. "Let them see what humans can do." Suddenly, one of the scouts made a move, approaching too closely. Yi Haiyan activated a defensive system, not to destroy but to demonstrate. Energy beams flared from the ship, forming protective barriers that blocked the scout without harm. The alien vessel backed away, confused and wary. "This is only the beginning," Erendor said. "Together we can achieve far more than any of them imagine." Yihayan nodded, his mind already racing. He had proven the first point. Humans were capable of awakening the impossible. But the galaxy was vast, and the challenges were only beginning. Larger fleets would come. Rival civilizations would try to claim the ship. But he was ready. He had the ship, the knowledge, and most importantly, the human determination to face whatever came next. For days, he continued repairs, adapting alien systems to human logic, learning more about Erendor's capabilities, and preparing for the inevitable confrontation. Every repair was a small victory, every new function a reminder that humans were not to be underestimated. One evening, Yihayan walked along the ship's massive corridors, feeling the hum of energy beneath his feet. He thought about the stories Erendor had told, about empires that had risen and fallen, about battles lost due to overconfidence or underestimating a small force. He realized humans had the same advantage, unpredictability. No alien could predict human ingenuity. No alien could anticipate the courage humans showed when facing impossible odds. He smiled. "We're going to change everything," he said softly. Erendor's voice responded, warm and steady. "Yes, Yihayan, we are ready. The galaxy will remember this day." And with that, the massive ship continued to awaken, its systems alive, its engines ready, and its human mechanic at the helm. The first stage of their journey was complete. The ship was no longer a forgotten relic. It was a powerful, sentient vessel, forged by human skill and determination. Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. Somewhere in the galaxy, others were watching, unaware that a human had begun something extraordinary, something that would challenge the very balance of power across the stars. Yihayan leaned back in his chair, a satisfied smile on his face. The ship hummed in response, a living partner ready for the next step. And deep inside, he knew that humans, his people, had an edge no one else could match. The adventure was far from over, but the first victories had been claimed. Together, human and machine were ready to face whatever came next. Yihayan had never felt such a mix of fear and excitement. Erendor's engines hummed with power beneath him, corridors glowing as if the massive ship itself were alive and alert. For weeks he had repaired, modified, and adapted systems that no human, or even alien, had ever touched. But now, the real test had come. Alien fleets had noticed the energy surges and were approaching. They had underestimated humans before, but they would not make the same mistake again. "Yihayan," Erendor said, calm but tense, "they are near. Sensors show multiple fleets converging on this sector. Their numbers are large, their weapons advanced, but we are ready." Yihayan's hands tightened around the control panels. "I know. Let's show them what humans can do." He had already tested the ship's systems in isolation, running engines at full power, adjusting weapon outputs, and experimenting with the alien tech he had adapted. But this would be the first real engagement. It would be the first time that Erendor, the massive sentient vessel, and a human mechanic would face enemies who did not understand what humans were capable of. The first scout ships appeared on the sensors. Small, agile, and armed with energy weapons, they hovered at the edge of the junkyard space, scanning for threats. Most alien crews had expected the ship to remain lifeless, a forgotten relic. They had not anticipated it awakening, and they certainly had not anticipated a human at the helm. Yihayan leaned forward, hands moving across the controls with confidence. He activated the defensive shields, energy flaring as the massive hull responded. "Erendor, let's start simple. I want them to see strength, not destruction." The first scout tried to move closer. Yihayan guided the ship, shifting its immense mass smoothly, using engines in ways no one had ever designed. The shields pulsed, deflecting minor attacks, and energy fields extended outward, creating a protective barrier. The alien pilots hesitated, startled by the ship's precision and speed. "They don't understand us," Erendor said, a note of pride in its voice. "Humans are unpredictable, use that," Yi Hyan smiled. "Exactly, let's keep them guessing." He activated a series of automated drones modified from Erendor's old systems. They moved with uncanny coordination, drawing the scouts into traps and confusing their targeting systems. With quick thinking, Yi Hyan manipulated the energy flows, creating bursts of light and motion that made it difficult for the aliens to aim accurately. One by one, the scouts backed off, unable to match the speed and strategy of the human-controlled ship. As the smaller ships retreated, larger vessels appeared on the horizon. Heavy cruisers, bristling with weapons, moved in formation. Yi Hyan's heart pounded. These were not simple scouts, they were military-grade ships, each capable of destroying a small human settlement. But he did not flinch. Humans were clever, humans could think where others could not, and this ship Erendor was alive and ready to respond. "Let's show them how humans fight," Yi Hyan said, fingers flying over the controls. Erendor responded instantly. Energy beams flared from the ship, not to destroy, but to intimidate. Shields expanded, engines roared, and the massive vessel moved with agility no one expected. The cruisers fired, but Yi Hyan had anticipated their trajectories, guiding the ship to avoid direct hits. He activated a system he had designed specifically for this moment, the energy redirector. It absorbed minor attacks and fed the energy back into Erendor's shields, strengthening them with each strike. The alien commanders were confused. No human ship had ever fought like this. They expected a predictable pattern, a routine engagement. But Yi Hyan was improvising constantly, using the ship's capabilities in ways that defied logic. Every maneuver showcased human ingenuity, quick thinking, adaptability, and fearlessness in the face of overwhelming odds. During the battle, Yi Hyan noticed something surprising. Erendor's AI was learning, adapting to his tactics, and even predicting enemy moves. It was as if the ship and the human mechanic were becoming one. The massive vessel moved with a rhythm that seemed almost sentient, responding to Yi Hyan's instincts before he even made a command. "They're learning from you," Erendor said. "You are shaping me as much as I am protecting you." Yi Hyan grinned, exhilarated. "Good. Let's keep them guessing." The engagement lasted for hours. Yi Hyan used every trick he had learned, from feints and misdirections to sudden bursts of speed and energy pulses. The alien fleets had technology far superior in many ways, but they could not anticipate human creativity. They could not predict the boldness that Yi Hyan displayed. Slowly, the enemy forces began to retreat, realizing that this human and his massive ship were no ordinary threat. When the last of the enemy ships pulled back, Yi Hyan exhaled deeply, sweat dripping from his brow. He had done it. Against overwhelming odds, he had held the ship together, used its advanced systems, and demonstrated the unpredictable power of human ingenuity. Erendor's voice was calm but filled with pride. "You have done well, Yi Hyan. They have underestimated humans once again. Remember this feeling. It is what makes you different." Yi Hyan leaned back in his chair, exhaustion and exhilaration mixing in a strange but wonderful way. "They'll think twice before underestimating us again," he said, but there was no time to rest. Sensors picked up movement at the edges of the sector. Larger fleets were approaching, faster than before. These were not scouts or cruisers, but full battle groups. Aliens who had learned of the awakened ship were gathering forces, determined to capture or destroy it. Yi Hyan knew that the real challenge had just begun. He spent the following days strengthening the ship further. He reinforced shields, improved the energy redistribution systems, and upgraded weapons, all while keeping Erendor's sentient AI in sync with his commands. The ship became more than a machine. It became an extension of his mind, capable of thinking, reacting, and even suggesting tactics he would never have considered on his own. During a quiet moment, Yi Haiyan walked the corridors of Urindor, feeling the massive ship vibrate softly beneath his feet. He marveled at the fusion of alien technology and human ingenuity. Every panel, every engine, every weapon system had been touched by his hands, adapted and enhanced. And yet the ship still had more potential, more secrets waiting to be unlocked. "They will come again," he said aloud. "Stronger, faster, smarter, but we'll be ready." Urindor's voice responded gently. "Yes, Yi Haiyan, and remember this. Humans are not only strong, they are clever, creative, and fearless. That is why they endure where others fail." The weeks that followed were filled with tests and simulations. Yi Haiyan experimented with advanced maneuvers, coordinated attacks, and defensive patterns that even seasoned alien commanders would not anticipate. He pushed the ship to its limits, each test teaching him more about the immense power at his command. Then one day a message arrived. It was brief, sent from the command fleets of a powerful alien coalition. "The human awakens the forgotten weapon. We will act." Yi Haiyan read the message, feeling a chill run down his spine. These were not scouts or small fleets. These were the leaders of entire star systems coming to challenge him and his massive ship. But he did not panic. Humans thrived under pressure. Humans found solutions when others saw only danger, and now he had Urindor at his side. "Urindor," he said firmly, "they're coming. It's time to see what humans can really do." The AI systems pulsed with energy, as if in agreement. "Then we shall remind them. Let them learn that humans cannot be underestimated." And so, the stage was set for the next phase of the journey. Yi Haiyan and Urindor, human and ship as one, would face the full might of alien forces. The galaxy had never seen anything like this. A human mechanic awakening a massive, sentient ship and using it to challenge powers far greater than himself. Yi Haiyan knew one thing for certain. The real battle was only beginning. And when it came, humans would show the galaxy exactly why they could not be counted out. The stars stretched endlessly around Yi Haiyan as Urindor glided silently through the void. The massive ship pulsed with energy, alive and aware, its hull glowing with a light that had not been seen in decades. Yi Haiyan sat in the control room, hands resting on the panels, eyes scanning the incoming fleets. They were enormous ships from multiple star systems, each bristling with weapons and ready to destroy anything in their path. Yet he did not feel fear. Humans thrived under pressure. Humans thrived when the odds were impossible. And now, with Urindor at his side, he felt unstoppable. "They are closing in," Urindor said calmly, though its circuits vibrated with tension. "Sensors indicate they have prepared coordinated attacks. Their intent is to overwhelm us." Yi Haiyan nodded, feeling a familiar thrill. "Let them try. They don't know humans, they don't know me." The first wave of alien ships moved into position, firing long-range energy blasts. Yi Haiyan guided Urindor with precision, using every trick he had learned. He activated the energy redistribution shields, absorbing most of the attacks and converting them into power for the engines and weapons. Urindor's massive frame danced through space with fluid motion, dodging attacks in ways that no enemy could predict. "Your agility is remarkable," Urindor said. "Even my calculations did not anticipate these maneuvers." Yi Haiyan smirked. "That's humans for you. We think differently. We fight differently." The first wave of enemy ships faltered, their formations breaking as Yi Haiyan used misdirection, energy flares, and sudden bursts of speed to confuse them. The smaller ships were no longer a threat. They had underestimated his creativity and courage. But the larger ships were different. These were warships designed to crush planets, bristling with advanced weapons and reinforced shields. They moved as one, coordinating attacks to overwhelm Urindor. Yi Haiyan's mind raced. He could not fight them head-on. Not yet. He needed a strategy, something unpredictable, something only a human could devise. He leaned into the controls, eyes sharp, fingers moving with a speed born of instinct. "Erendor," he said, "we're going to do something they won't expect. Prepare for the human way." The massive ship hummed in anticipation. Yi Hyun activated the modified weapon systems he had installed, blending alien technology with human ingenuity. Plasma cannons, energy pulses, and shield flares fired in sequences that were impossible to predict. The enemy ships struggled to adjust, their formations breaking under the barrage of clever tactics. "They're confused," Erendor noted. "Humans are unpredictable. They cannot anticipate your moves." Yi Hyun grinned. "Exactly, let's keep them guessing." Using Erendor's engines, he performed sudden, sharp maneuvers, bringing the massive ship close to the enemy fleet, then leaping back with bursts of energy. Enemy weapons misfired, energy shields overloaded, and confusion spread among their ranks. Yi Hyun's creativity turned the tide. He was not relying on brute force alone, but on cunning, adaptability, and fearless action. The alien commanders, once confident in their superior numbers, began to hesitate. Reports from their fleets spoke of a massive human ship moving faster than their calculations allowed, attacking from unexpected angles and avoiding every trap. They could not comprehend how a single human mechanic could command a vessel of this size so effectively. "We underestimate humans at our peril," one alien commander muttered, eyes wide as Erendor spun through the battlefield. Yi Hyun pressed forward, activating a system he had designed to amplify energy pulses. Beams of light shot from Erendor, not to destroy, but to disable and confuse. Enemy ships, targeting systems failed, their engines glitched and chaos spread. The massive ship moved with a fluidity no one expected, dodging attacks and countering with precision. "Humans are amazing," Erendor said quietly. "They survive, adapt, and overcome. They are the perfect partner for a ship like me." The battle intensified. Larger cruisers attempted to flank Erendor, but Yi Hyun anticipated their moves. Using the ship's advanced propulsion, he performed maneuvers that seemed impossible for such a massive vessel. He redirected energy from shields to engines in a burst, spinning the ship around to face multiple attackers simultaneously. Alien weapons that had seemed unstoppable now failed to find their mark. Despite the overwhelming numbers, Yi Hyun's ingenuity and human adaptability turned the tide. He was not fighting alone. Erendor responded instinctively, anticipating moves, adjusting systems, and amplifying human commands. Together, they were more than a ship. They were a force no enemy could predict. Hours passed in the void, each moment a test of skill, courage, and strategy. Yi Hyun was exhausted, sweat dripping from his brow, but he never hesitated. Humans thrived in moments of pressure. He made split-second decisions that no algorithm could match, guiding Erendor to positions that turned enemy strength into weakness. Finally, the largest enemy ship approached, a flagship bristling with energy cannons and reinforced armor. Its commanders believed this vessel could destroy anything in its path. They had not accounted for one human with a massive sentient ship and a mind that moved faster than any calculation. Yi Hyun smiled, hands steady on the controls. "Erendor, time for the final move." The massive ship pulsed, energy building to its peak. Yi Hyun guided it in a sudden, unexpected trajectory, weaving through enemy fire with unmatched precision. He activated a combination of energy pulses and weapon flares, creating a blinding display that disoriented the enemy fleet. The flagship's shields faltered, its weapons misfired, and in a single, decisive move, Erendor's energy pulse struck the vessel. It did not explode. Yi Hyun had designed it to disable, not destroy. But the flagship was neutralized, its systems offline. The remaining enemy ships hesitated, then slowly retreated, unable to cope with the unpredictable strategy of a human and a sentient ship. Yi Hyun leaned back, breathing heavily, but a triumphant smile spread across his face. Humans had prevailed, not by numbers or sheer firepower, but by courage, creativity, and the ability to think where others could not. Erendor's systems pulsed warmly. You have done what few could imagine, Yi Hyun. The galaxy will remember this day. Humans have shown their strength, not in brute force, but in ingenuity, adaptability, and fearlessness. Yi Hyun nodded, pride swelling in his chest. This is only the beginning. There will be others who come, stronger, faster, smarter, but they will learn the same lesson. Humans are never to be underestimated. The stars around them seemed brighter now, as if acknowledging the victory. Yi Hyun walked the corridors of Erendor, feeling the massive ship respond to his touch, alive and aware, yet respectful of the human who had awakened it. The partnership between mechanic and machine was complete, human skill and courage amplified by alien technology. Weeks passed after the battle. Yi Hyun and Erendor traveled through nearby systems, not in fear but in exploration. They repaired settlements, helped colonies under threat, and demonstrated the strength and ingenuity of humanity. Tales of a human who had awakened a forgotten massive ship spread across the galaxy, inspiring other humans and striking fear into those who underestimated them. Everywhere they went, humans were shown to be clever, brave, and unstoppable when faced with impossible odds. Yi Hyun had not sought fame or glory. He had only followed his instincts, repaired the ship, and shown that human creativity could rival the most advanced alien technology. One evening, as Erendor floated above a small human colony, Yi Hyun looked out at the stars. "We did it, Erendor. We showed them what humans can do." "Yes," Erendor replied, "and the galaxy will never forget. Humans are not weak. They are not predictable. They endure, adapt, and conquer challenges that others deem impossible." Yi Hyun smiled, knowing this was only the start. There would be new threats, larger fleets, and challenges he could not yet imagine, but he was ready. Humans had an edge no one else had: ingenuity, courage, and fearlessness. And with Erendor by his side, nothing could stop them. The massive ship, once forgotten, now stood as a symbol of human resilience and brilliance. And somewhere in the galaxy, those who had doubted humanity took note. The lesson was clear: humans were not to be underestimated. And as Yi Hyun sat at the helm, hands steady on the controls, he felt the quiet thrill of possibilities. The adventure had only just begun, but one thing was certain: the galaxy would never forget the human who awakened a massive ship and turned it into a weapon of ingenuity, courage, and unstoppable power. The stars stretched endlessly, and for the first time, Yi Hyun felt the true weight of what humans could achieve.